is a universal beverage consumed on every continent. With this in mind, my vision of capturing people's imaginations by creating art out of something ordinary, just like a person's morning coffee, brewed. Constructing an art piece made entirely with coffee requires a thoughtful and delicate touch. This process ensures that this is truly a unique art form where I invite the viewer to fully immerse themselves within the piece. The idea of painting with coffee came to me whilst watching the rich, brown espresso pouring perfectly into my cup. As I enjoyed the hot beverage, it occurred to me that perhaps I could take this passion for coffee to a deeper level. My intention with this artwork is to provoke feelings within my audience, to provide an opportunity that just for a moment we can be taken to another world. Capturing the depth of this whimsical world could only be possible through a slow and sophisticated process of building layers and layers of espresso, where the aroma seeks to add another dimension to the work. The artwork explores a connection between dreams and reality. Where has this girl been? But more importantly, where is she going? Her boat, a symbol for this dream she cannot escape. The sail and mast proving to guide her to the destination are just merely items to remind her of reality. Drawn through the telescope, we ignore the clouds encapsulating our surroundings as we travel into this whimsical world alongside the girl. Whilst we are captured in the strong aroma of the ground coffee, the floorboards beneath are just gentle reminders that our existence and our being have never truly left the confines of reality. Where does this aroma take you?
Our life experiences shape us, shape our views, make us see things a little differently. My work focuses on the perspectives of different people. While something can seem quite normal, sweet even, to some, others who can see deeper may see a work emerge as something entirely different. After the loss of my sister nearly 2 years ago, my perception of so much has changed. In this work, I wanted to harvest my raw yet rich range of emotions and make something positive of them. My work has developed and changed, as I have over these past 2 years, and ask questions of what we see when we look at something. My piece surrounds the helping hands of the dead. Of all my sister's physical features, her well-weathered hands for someone so young will forever stand out in my mind. Her hands, and the hands of others that we have lost, hold us up, help us grow, and often with us unknowing, help us heal. My work is a freestanding structure created from assorted tree twigs. These twigs come together to form the hands of the lost, which in turn weave together to create the beginnings of new life in a tree. I have used many traditional symbols of healing and growth, natural objects, trees and birds, and have warped them with skeletal structures. These hands harvest our eggs of thought, lost love messages that we never got to send, shifting them and shaping them into birds to be set free. Take a deeper look. What do you see? A pleasant nature setting? Or something more?
Gluttony is an exploration of the relationship between humans and nature. Humanity seems to have lost the animal instinct to merely survive and has replaced this with feelings of greed and success. Society is obsessed with having the newest and latest thing that there is little else that people think about. With this in mind, I try to depict the discontinuity between humanity and nature and the denial of humans believing they are animals. The focal point of my piece is Adelaide's iconic mole's balls. I use the silver spheres to depict a reflection of 3 human-like figures as the mole's pigs, and the shops reflecting nothing more than the inner thoughts of an average shopper in Rundle Mall. The humans surrounding the balls have pigs' heads, which is a role reversal between humanity and nature, stating that humans may have disconnected themselves from their animal roots, yet in retrospect are still nothing more than greedy pigs.
This work is a series of picture frames that reflect major periods and events in my life. It has a strong use of symbolism to represent the life events that have had the most impact in shaping who I am today. It reflects my fears, love, pain, struggles, and happiness.
Ambiguous loss is a condition people suffer when a loved one has mentally lost their capabilities, yet are still physically present. For me, this piece is a way to express the relationship with my grandma and myself and the disease of Alzheimer's. I enjoyed the way she made me feel special and the richness her care brought to my life. She is such an important person to me, and this dress was a chance for me to explore not only my love for her, but what is now happening to her mind. As a role model, as a woman, she has been strong and capable until this illness. The statistics for people in our society being affected by this debilitating disease is distressing, with so many becoming unable to function and their memories failing them until only frailty remains. This piece is a reflection of the strength of women, especially my grandma, and the femininity and beauty she possesses, alongside Alzheimer's and the destructive nature of the disease, and how it has left holes and tangles in her mind. The dress combines themes of perfection and beauty alongside how Alzheimer's is affecting her brain and the everyday messiness of life, which are all themes connected to my grandma.
My piece, The Fox and the Eagle, is an exploration of personal histories, identity and stories untold. Growing up in Elliston, on the Eyre Peninsula of South Australia, as part of a fifth-generation Irish Catholic family, I always felt pride and a strong connection to my pioneering ancestors, who played a large role in the settlement of the area. The landscape of the surrounding area, including barley fields, towering limestone cliffs and empty beaches, will make up a place I will always refer to as home. In recent years, I've come to realise this place, this land which I call my home, has many layers of known and unknown history. These layers are the history of those who have lived on this land for generations before my own, the first Australians. At times they are terrifying stories of destruction, dispossession and loss, but they are also ancient stories of survival, spirituality and connection to land. When being confronted with this new truth about my home, how do I reconcile this new discovery? How do I see this land I once considered a part of me as Aboriginal land? Where does my own family histories, as intruders, fit amongst these untold stories, and how does this feel in my conscience? I've explored these themes in my piece, using myself as a subject, dressed in pioneer clothing to represent my European ancestry, within the large landscape of ocean, cliff and fields. I have used animals, specifically the introduced European fox and the native wedge-tail eagle. This is in homage to Indigenous totem beliefs, which connected land and nature to an individual or group spiritual belief system. With the settlement of Europeans, such as my family, many of these stories have been lost. I have used 3 images to express my continuing growth and exploration of stories, personal and unknown, but also my own personal journey of spirituality, from questioning my faith that was rooted in my upbringing to discovering and redefining my own beliefs.
My artwork is a response to the expectations placed upon women in society. I have chosen images depicting women in many of the stereotypical roles that society pressures them to fulfill. I have transformed these images to become darkened, colourless and abstracted, not only to symbolise that they are old-fashioned, but also to demonstrate that many women cannot relate to them, that they have become cold and empty ideals. I've covered the top half of the mannequin in colourful, abstract shapes. Rather than calling upon set images that define what we should be, this symbolises energy, potential, and the creative freedom to be whatever we want to be. In contrast to the images on the lower part of the mannequin, the pure colours are simple and beautiful and transcend preconceived meanings about what our role in life should be.
My artwork is an interactive seascape installation which is called Miracles. It's based on a profound experience that I had at Grange Beach at sunset. The viewer experiences a majestic moment in time where nature and perfection coexist. It's a moment where sea joins rainbows, sunset and rain. It's a sensuous experience. These senses become enlightened with sounds, smells and striking visuals. It ignites all the senses and it gives you a sense of infinity and connectedness with all that is. And it's also a piece about protecting the ocean.
Hidden is centred around the idea of people's positive and negative sides. Most of our self-perception unfortunately comes from the media, a bunch of faceless people who decide what we should look like, what we should act like, and even how we should run our lives. The media seems to have a strong influence on women's ideas of perfection. But why can't we come up with this idea ourselves, the idea of self-perfection? Society seeks an unattainable idea of this, where everything in our lives should be perfect. But what about our negatives? Are we hiding a side of ourselves? If so, why? We are only human after all, so why strive for something which is unrealistic, unattainable, and simply fake?
My artwork is the culmination of ideas that naturally evolved over the course of 12 months, through research and experimentation. At the end of the process, this piece has come to represent a personal journey for me as an artist. I have taken an introspective approach, examining my inner thoughts and beliefs, and the result is an installation, a display cabinet filled with segments of a photo, fragments of a bigger picture neatly pinned in orderly rows. The circles that I have pinned in the box represent my need for organisation, control, and for having everything in my life neatly put away in its proper place. Each circle is carefully pinned in the box, almost like a specimen or souvenir. They also represent the passing of time, the apparent sameness of each day, but it's not until you step back that you can see the bigger picture. The image is a vista taken at my family farm, the place where I grew up and will always call home. It is a place steeped in tradition, full of memories, and this one place symbolises family to me more than anything else. The locked glass box gives the viewer the feeling that what is in the box is precious and needs to be preserved. Sometimes we just need to step back and take a look at the bigger picture to realise what is really important, and for me that always comes back to family.
Everyone's past is precious, but often memories are forgotten and lost. They are often covered over by new memories, education, and events which leave your childhood memories unimportant. Your childhood is the beginning of your life, which is why I chose to depict my piece as an egg within a nest. The egg is created with pre-loved toys, which I found at garage sales and salvo stores. The toys are coated with a shell of book pages and photos, symbolising our own growth and development. The shell is cracked, allowing the audience to see what lies underneath, the importance of our childhood, and how every now and then something will trigger our memory and bring back images of playing and laughing, leaving the memories exposed and influencing our lives in the present.
This work is an homage to my family and what my idea of family means to me as a son, grandson, husband and father. The left is a portrait of my daughter Annabelle and the right is of my late Nana Viv. The contrast between the two canvases explores the concepts of youth and age, innocence and experience, life and death. The woolen garment that connects the two pieces represents legacy and the importance of knowledge and values that exist and continue through families and generations. The handmade frame transforms the paintings into a unique and tangible keepsake that can be passed down from one family member to another, symbolising the significant power that physical objects can have in remembering and treasuring loved ones.
My artwork developed through a process of evaluating the expectations and roles placed upon women by traditional spheres of society. Whilst we all have duties to fulfill, female identity has often been associated with varying levels of femininity as opposed to masculinity. These duties or expectations are often dictated to through the environment or context in which the identity develops. I have used strong, vivid colours to represent the different dimensions of the female world, personality, and to celebrate the vibrancy of inner self-worth. The choice of feminine pinks juxtaposed to masculine blues highlight the way women can utilise the positive attributes of both sexes, blue for strength and pink for delicacy. I wanted to explore the ideal of what it was to be female. This led me to focus firstly upon the physiological, breasts for example, which throughout history have represented reproduction and fertility. This role for women has often resulted in the faceless women of certain character, where we are assigned to be seen but not heard for certain purposes. This physiological focus highlighted the femininity of the human body, which radiated a sort of constant movement that's similar to nature. When viewing, one is taken through a natural woodland setting where the trees have been contorted into the female form to signify the silent whispering of the diversity of the female identity. Lines are a key focus, as it is these lines which aims to draw the viewer into the intrigue that is femininity, encouraging you to step forward into a false enchantment. Come and explore a new femininity, strong and whispering but not silent.
My art piece developed from a photo that I took a week before the passing of my grandfather. It shows my hand resting on his, one old with a lifetime of stories, the other young, life only beginning. This photo inspired my art piece and my belief that life after death continues, that love is everlasting. The hand has long been thought as a conduit of power, transforming unseen energy into the world of form. I wanted the hands in my piece to express different gestures and tell the viewer a story, every hand in a different form, growing out of the tree. The items the hands are holding in my piece symbolise death, new life, religion, future visions, and putting the pieces of life's puzzle together, The tree in the middle of my piece represents the tree of life. The tree of life, I feel, symbolises eternal life and immortality. It is a reminder of the past, being its roots and ancestry, the present, the body, and future, fruit, labour, and prosperity. My decision to use woodwork allowed me to explore the different textures and eras using old, new, and recycled timber. I was lucky enough to find the timber exploring my pop's back shed when looking for inspiration. The tree centrepiece is made from a fence that Pop put together over 50 years ago.
With today's busy and hectic lifestyles, most of us has formed a bad habit of racing through our days to get things done. We often forget to stop and appreciate the simple beauty in the everyday things, and essential objects commonly go unappreciated. I often find the most simplest of things the most amazing, like the sounds of birds singing or the sunlight flickering through the treetops. Through my piece, I have represented the simple beauty of everyday paper, something we come into contact with multiple times a day and has changed the way we live and communicate with each other, something that we often take for granted. I used the technique of quilling paper to create an image of a magpie looking over its shoulder. I chose to represent the magpie because it is a common everyday bird, one we often get annoyed with and don't really appreciate. But the everyday magpie has one of the most complex bird songs in the world, one we probably wake up to every morning without listening to or stopping to appreciate. I used simple line and shaping of paper to create a simple but effective piece of work. When looking at the piece from different angles, you receive an entirely different view as the paper provides a different visual effect.
For centuries, the end of the world has been feared of being brought on by a giant wave. From the Bible story of Noah's Ark to the Japanese woodblock print of the Great Wave of Kanagawa by Hokusai. For centuries, the shores have been eroded by waves, such as the 12 Apostles in Victoria. Water levels have been rising. Some parts of the country regularly suffer from floods, whilst others are suffering from droughts at different times of the year. I ask the question, are we really doing enough to reverse all the damage we have done to the earth, or have we caused too much already? So much that Mother Nature will never forgive us for what we have done to her precious earth and all of its creatures which we have abused and used for entertainment. Factory farming is one of the largest contributors to carbon emissions. Forests are constantly being cleared to make room for construction. So much destruction is done to the earth, and yet we continue to think that there will be no consequence. I argue there will be. Mother Earth will soon reclaim her earth in the form of a wave, wiping out all existence of mankind and reclaiming the land for the animals to repopulate, the plants to grow and life to live on, evolution to start again, this time in peace.
I am fascinated by the strength and vulnerability, the form and beauty of trees. They provide me with a sense of wonder, happiness, and calm. But I worry, if society continues to upgrade and discard technologies, ignorant of the environmental effects, then these life-giving and necessary plants may be no more. My sculpture is an unsettling representation of the possibilities of an unnatural and man-made future environment.
By incorporating traditional vanitist symbols, my art seeks to demonstrate life's transient nature through a series of more contemporary rendered works. Through a minimalist approach, these works seek to demonstrate the certainty of death. As individuals, we feel connected to each other as we share the same fragile and complex organic composition. What may seem on one hand a blessing is also a curse, as in an instant we could be faced with the suddenness of death and become separated from the ones we love. This piece serves as a reminder not to take life for granted or get carried away by moments of trivial insignificance, as at any moment our lives could be abruptly and permanently wiped out by death.